If you've not watched The Sopranos, do not watch this video. I can pretty much guarantee you'd only enjoy this video if you've watched the show. I will happily forfeit your view, for the knowledge I've turned someone onto watching this series with a completely clear mind. It's only 86 hours? No time at all. I'll wait. Now that's out the way. Trying to come up with an original thought about The Sopranos in 2021 is basically impossible. With countless reviews, podcasts, and meme accounts, everything that could have been said about this series has been said. Although I have yet to hear anyone explain to me, who the heck was that guy on the staircase at Livia's wake? It's not Junior, he was not invited to the wake. I have to know, damn it! Even the gabagool that featured on the show has written a book about its experiences.
All this from a slice of gabagool.
There truly is nothing left to say. That being said, it's a great show and I still want to talk about it. So today we are going to limit our focus to one single episode. The episode I consider to be the series' strongest, Join the Club. Join the Club aired on March 19th, 2006, and in the previous episode, Members Only, we end with Uncle Junior, who is suffering from dementia, shooting Tony in the chest. Tony collapses and dials 911, but before he is able to say anything, he passes out. Join the Club begins with Tony waking up in a small hotel room. Okay, something's not quite right here. I mean, yes, the last time we saw him he was dying on Junior's kitchen floor and now he's fine, but aside from that, something is definitely wrong.
Hi, you reached the Sopranos. Leave a message. Bye.
Those are not his kids.
Good morning. Anthony Soprano.
That is not his New Jersey accent.
This is not my beautiful wife.
What the hell? This isn't my wallet. And this isn't my briefcase. Last night, I was at a bar across the street from my hotel. I must have picked up the wrong stuff.
What in the world is going on? After a very confusing 10 minutes, we cut to a hospital where Tony is fighting for his life, and it is revealed that the events of the previous episode did indeed take place. Okay, if that's the real Tony, then who is... Meet Coma Tony, a precision optics salesman who's travelled from New Jersey, where his wife and kids live, to attend a convention. And is basically the answer to the question every fan of the show has asked at least once: what would Tony's life be like if he was never in the Mafia? This storyline follows Coma Tony in purgatory as he experiences a series of aggravations triggered by his mistaken identity. He cannot attend his convention, two Buddhist monks accuse him of selling them a faulty heating system and threaten to take legal action, and finally his misfortunes climax when Tony falls and hits his head, which leads to a diagnosis of early-stage dementia. Oof, Mondays, eh? I said this all takes place in purgatory, and whether that is true, or this is simply Tony's brain trying to comprehend the situation, is open to interpretation. We do get certain clues, such as Tony keeps seeing a beacon of light on the horizon that could represent heaven, wildfires on the news that could represent hell, followed by some not-so-subtle religious imagery. The bartender also tells him it's dead around here, indicating everyone else Coma Tony encounters is also between life and death. But I'm not so sure it's that clear-cut. If I know one thing about David Chase, is that he does not do clear cuts. Apart from maybe... He instead generally takes the more murky agnostic approach. Do the dreams in The Sopranos mean anything? That's kind of up to you to decide. Does Tony die at the end? That's kinda up to you to decide. Is this purgatory? You get the picture. Although, the writers deciding to set whatever this is inside a hotel was absolutely genius. Hotels have such a wonderful liminal space-like quality to them, where it feels like time really doesn't exist, and that fits this storyline very well. I find Coma Tony to be one of the most fascinating creations the writers have ever come up with, but not necessarily because of the ways his life is vastly different to real Tony's, but more in the million subtle ways his character is different. Firstly, real Tony is a charisma juggernaut. When he enters the room, you know he entered that room. He has the scare factor of a great white shark looking to attack at any moment, the charisma of a Frank Sinatra, and the sexiness of a Brad Pitt. Okay, he's not as sexy as Brad Pitt. He's way sexier! Whereas Coma Tony is... yeah, not so much. He kinda blends into the scenery. He's awkward and shy. He's more hunched over and carries himself like a guy who's been worn down by the world, and definitely not like a mob boss who everyone respects. He struggles to even maintain the attention of a bartender whose job it is to listen to him. Can you imagine if this guy had acted this nonchalant to real Tony? Well, we don't need to imagine.
Think that shit grows on trees?
Ice? No, I don't.
What, are you getting cute with me?
No.
12 seconds later.
The fact Gandolfini can play these subtle contrasts so believably is just a testament to what a wonderful actor he was. It's not in the big differences, it's in the tiny details. Look at how real Tony drives a car. And now, look at how Coma Tony drives a car. That is good acting. Gandolfini himself was a bit of an enigma. I don't know much about him as he kept his personal life private and rarely did interviews, but what I've heard from the people who did know him was that he was nothing like the character the world knows him as. He was far more shy and didn't take interviews because he didn't feel he was interesting enough. I get the feeling he was a lot more like Coma Tony in real life. And I like this idea because maybe it gives people who have preconceived ideas about the actor based solely on this character the chance to see a completely different person. In the real Sopranos world, we're basically watching the characters we've come to know and love grapple with the idea their father/husband/friend might not survive this, and hot damn is it convincingly played. The kids are great in this episode, and it's fascinating to see these characters who we've watched mature over 6 seasons as fully developed adults trying to deal with an incredibly adult situation. Or not deal with it if you're AJ. But really, this is Carmela at her very best. She's basically trying to keep everyone together as her world burns around her, and oh my god, do you believe every minute of it. She's making me tired just looking at her. This scene in particular is so well acted by Edie Falco. Carmela plays Tony one of his favourite tracks as she goes from reassuring him that he's going to make it, to deeply regretful that she told him he was going to hell, to utterly defeated in the space of 5 minutes. Anyway, saving the best for last, we arrive at the episode's ending, and goddamn if this is not one of the most moving scenes in television history, I don't know what is. Coma Tony arrives back at his room. He picks up the phone, then decides against making a call, and sits on his bed as the beacon flashes on the horizon. No dialogue is spoken, but Moby's When It's Called I'd Like to Die plays over the top, and then the episode ends on the most haunting and saddest shot in the series. Tony, never more alone and vulnerable than he is now, staring into the abyss. Death is one of the biggest themes of The Sopranos, and, more specifically, how we confront our own mortality. Are we like Livia, believing it's all a big nothing? Or more like Carmela, who lives in fear of reaching the end and being judged for everything we've done? What with his line of work and his personal life, with his struggles with depression and Gloria who committed suicide, it feels like Tony is very familiar with death. Death is basically a character throughout the series, but to me it's never felt more present than it is here. Okay, if that got a little heavy, I apologise. While for me it is the best, it maybe is not one of the most light-hearted episodes, and I think the writers knew this by making the next one of the funniest in the show's history. The next episode, Mayhem, being the second and concluding part of Coma Tony's arc, is also brilliant, and I might talk about it in the future. But today, I just wanted to highlight why this is my personal favourite episode, and a few of the little, perhaps sometimes overlooked examples of why, if anyone had any doubt, The Sopranos is so much more than a TV series about a mob boss.